It's the best way to start your NFL Sunday. Welcome everybody back to Sunday Morning Slants. I'm your host Matt Watson, and as always, I'm joined side along. Oh wow, great start,
We're
great start.
back.
Welcome back, welcome
We're
back.
so back.
So back.
We're so back. Joined alongside a wonderful crew with Mason, Pat, and
Mm.
Kyle. What's going on, guys?
That was just electric. It's
What's
got me
up?
juice, that intro.
Yeah,
A little bit,
we're so back. It's been a minute. A little rusty, guys.
We got Matt Watson Media all
Yeah.
over.
Matt Watson Media is all over. How's it going, guys? All right.
His brand.
Yeah, we're pushing the brand, pushing narratives, pushing agendas. That is Sunday Morning Slants.
But
So,
we got
in
Pat
case-
here then.
Yeah, well, if in case
Just
you've never
wait.
listened to an episode of this, Pat, PKL22 at PKL22 on Twitter, full of an agenda, and you guys are gonna love what he has to say. But in case you've never listened to Sunday Morning Slants, it's just a bunch of dudes talking ball, just like your typical group chat with the boys back home. So tonight we're gonna be talking about the NFC East and all things NFC East. And so, in case you have not been paying attention, and Pat, this is mainly targeted for you. A lot of drama going on in the NFC East, starting with Michael Parsons requesting out of Dallas, refuses to speak to Jerry Jones based on the contract negotiations that have pretty much stalled at this point in Dallas. And the same case for Terry McLaurin of the Washington Commanders, also requesting out because he wants a new deal with Washington. Washington signed a bunch of players in the last couple of years, and yet they have refused to give him a new deal. So, Mason, I'm going to start with you, and we're going to start down in Texas. Michael Parsons, arguably a top 3 defensive player in football, and the Dallas Cowboys have waited the very last possible second to give him a contract. What are your thoughts on the Michael Parsons saga as we are live here in Dallas?
I mean, I think just as an Eagles fan, you take for granted how well run of an organization you're a fan of, and then you see something like this and you realize how bad it is elsewhere. I mean, waiting the last minute to try and pay this guy is just ridiculous. I don't know what kind of stunts Jerry Jones trying to pull, but I think at this point, he just doesn't care. I mean, the things that he's saying at press conferences, I think it's his show. He realizes no matter what, they're going to be America's team, even if they win like 4 games. And I don't even know if he really has to pay Michael Parsons, honestly, because at this point, I think he doesn't care about winning. He doesn't care about paying his players. He's just going to run whoever's out there as long as they have a star on their helmet. I think he thinks that it's going to work out for him. So, I mean, they're going to be in cap hell no matter what they do. I think at this point they had to pay Dak, they had to pay CD. I can't remember honestly if there was much of a holdout for. Was it last year that CD got paid? Was there much of a holdout?
Last year, yeah.
I remember there being something, but I don't really remember if it was as dramatic as this. But
As long as Jamar, but it was pretty.
I mean,
Yeah.
you can only pay so many guys. I don't really know what they do. They're in a weird spot where they're going to be in some rough cap situations, and they haven't really had much success. So paying another guy, I mean, they might be better off just trying to get an absolute haul. I mean, the haul they would get for this guy would be insane, and maybe that's what they do. I'm not sure, honestly.
All right, Kyle, I'll go to you. What are your thoughts on the Parsons situation in Dallas?
Yeah, I mean, this is just Jerry Jones doing Jerry Jones things. He loves to just drag this stuff out. He did it with CD. He did it with Zach Martin. He did it with Zeke. I think he just loves the attention because when one of his players decides to have a meltdown, not even a meltdown, they're fairly asking for what they're owed. And especially Micah. Micah's watched TJ Watt get paid, Myles Garrett get paid, Max Crosby, just the whole list. All his colleagues, all the people in the same tier as him, they're all getting paid. And Micah's being told he's basically lazy, gets hurt all the time. So I'd be pretty pissed off too. I would like to point out that Micah's trade request seems a lot more personal than Terry's was. But I'll get into that one Terry's section. But yeah, just typical Jerry Jones stuff. Love to see it. It's always a circus. And yeah, like Mason said, makes me appreciate we don't have any holdouts. The last one we had was like Fletcher Cox, like 2018 or something. Oh yeah, I mean, it ain't easy being the best run organization in the league.
All right, Pat, what do you think on this Michael Parsons situation with the Cowboys?
Well, I agree with everything that Kyle and Mason said. The Dallas Cowboys, Jerry Jones loves to trot people through the locker room. He loves to sell those fan passes. He loves to call themselves America's team, spout off at press conferences, go crazy in the draft room. Like, he loves to do all these things, but the thing he doesn't love to do is to just pay players. Like, get your players who build your franchise into the room, get them locked down to long-term deals, and he just wants to feel in control. He wants to feel like he's the guy who's making all the decisions for the team. And I think Jerry Jones thinks he still plays football, man. I think he thinks that he could strap that helmet on and be as good as Micah Parsons, but I think he is he's gotten a little bit up there in age, and I think maybe some people need to start taking the organization over and saying, all right, Jerry, we'll sit you up there in the box. We'll get the camera on you every game, and you can wave and do your thing, but we need to run this organization in the way that the modern football organization is run. And so going to be interesting. Micah Parsons, if you're listening, we know you are. Come on down to Philly, man. Come on down to Philly. We'll get you paid. We'll send over like Ringo or something for you, and we'll bring you onto the team. We'll love you here.
Yeah, I don't think the Eagles want Micah Parsons.
Come on,
If
bro.
we're being completely honest.
They can't.
I don't think they would want to pay him.
We'll give him anything.
Oh,
We'll give him anything.
I would like to add
Imagine
one more thing.
between him and Jalen Carter, it's going to be like the entire. That's it. And there's the only two players you're going to have on your team.
Everybody's gone. Everybody else. You can Quinion Mitchell. Note that you can't sign him. Cooper DeJean can't sign him. But we'll have Jalen Carter and Micah. And I would just like to say, I hope Jerry holds on for at least another 10 years. So that way AI is developed to the point to where they can just inject him into a robot, and then he leads the Cowboys for the rest of eternity. And that would be awesome.
That would not shock me, in all honesty. I think Jerry Jones quite literally has to die in order for him to be removed from the ownership group of the Cowboys.
Like Stephen Jones is just a clone of Jerry. It's just going to be.
I don't think anybody could be that bad, though. Like, I think Stephen Jones knows he has to at least appease his father in certain situations, and I just think things are out of his control. I can't imagine him letting something like this happen. I mean,
Cutting the agent out is crazy. No one even said that. That is fucking nuts.
Would you rather be Stephen Jones, or would you rather be Belichick's son? Real talk.
Stephen Jones.
Stephen Jones.
Yeah, probably Stephen Jones.
The bank account is far higher. And your biggest asset's going to be when you inherit the Cowboys. So I think that's a pretty easy answer.
Yeah, was it Steve Belichick? He's not getting anything because his stepmom's taking it off.
Wait, are they both named Steve?
I think his name's
one's Stephen Jones.
Okay.
Steve Belichick.
There might be something there.
Not a UNC football pod, so sorry.
Thank God. Thank God for that.
Shout out Tar Heels.
That'll be really fun to watch. But so the Cowboys were awful last year. Now they're refusing to pay their best player. I think it's going to just put a lot of trouble for the Cowboys, especially in NFC East with the Eagles and with the Commanders. And just saying, the Giants. Not a lot's happening up in New York. Haven't heard much about the Giants.
It's a good thing for them.
It is a very good thing. It's an unusual thing for the Giants. Wonder who they have playing quarterback for them now.
I think the only thing I saw about the Giants was whatever rookie they had threw a pick on like the first play of training camp.
Yeah, Jackson Dart threw a pick. Yeah, and then they said no more recording practice.
Yeah, that was it.
Never forget the Jamar Chase drops issue when he was a rookie.
Yeah, could not catch a ball in preseason.
Yeah, it worked out.
It worked out well. So speaking of wide receivers, the other team in the NFC East, the Washington Commanders, they are currently dealing with a situation similar to Michael Parsons and the Cowboys with Terry McLaurin. McLaurin wants a new deal. The Commanders have been, kind of slow to give him that money, and I think they're kind of just trying to play the waiting game. A little bit different than the Parsons situations where he's going to probably set the edge rusher market. McLaurin's going to slot in nicely, probably in the middle pack, maybe top 10 in wide receiver contracts, if I had to imagine. So he is holding out. He's not going to play until he gets a new deal, and the Commanders have to try and navigate that. And I will say, McLaurin is definitely their wide receiver one. So this would definitely be an issue leading into the season. Jaden Daniels is top target, at that point. So it'd be interesting to see. So Kyle, I'll go to you here. Do you think that the Commanders will re-sign Terry McLaurin to an extension before or after week 3 of the preseason?
Shout out Josh Harris. Typical Josh Harris run team. Let's load the team up with old people, and then the buck stops at Terry McLaurin, the guy that's been there the whole time. Shout out PG, because PG is probably the reason why Josh Harris doesn't want to pay Terry, because he just paid PG $55 million a year for the Sixers. So now he's like, ooh, Terry, let's close the pocketbook a little bit. Because when he's signing a bunch of one-year deals with like Bobby Wagner and Zach Ertz and all these other older guys, that's fine. 1 year, get him off the books. But committing 4 or 5 years to Terry, that's too much. But I think Terry's going to get signed pretty soon, to be honest, because I alluded to it with the Micah thing. But Terry, it feels like his trade request was more like when you're like 13 and you leave the group chat with your boys to like get their attention, and then, oh, come on, have me back. I feel like that was the vibe I got, because Terry's holding in and he's also like signing autographs and stuff. So I think that'll get sorted out. But yeah, they gotta sign him, bro. Because I mean, Debo. I think Debo is going to surprise some people this year. I don't think he's as bad as like Terrell Owens.
I don't think Debo is going to do anything.
I think he could be. I mean, when you got T.O. calling you fat, I think that sets the bar pretty low, and I think he can exceed that bar.
He might be the running back one by week 3, because I just don't see him as a wide receiver anymore.
He's gonna be better than people think. He's not gonna be AJ Brown or Devontae Smith or even Malik Neighbors or Terry McLaurin or George Pickens or CeeDee Lamb, but he'll slot right there at wide receiver 7 or 8 in the NFC. So.
All right, Pat, I'll go to you. Do you think that Terry is signed by week 3 of the preseason?
That's so tough. I don't think he is. And I'll tell you why. I think that Terry McLaurin is a talented wide receiver. I won't say any different. But I do think that Terry McLaurin is going to want money that isn't Terry McLaurin money. And I think that Josh Harris has a lot to think about in the future for the team, especially for a team that has gone through so much, like so many tumultuous times in the last decade, maybe 5 years. That I think he's just going to be hesitant to pay a guy for the long term that has been there for a while. Yeah, is part of the team identity, but you could go in the draft and pick up another player that will slot in that Jaden Daniels is going to have success with at the wide receiver position. I think that wide receivers are kind of a dime a dozen. You have your elite wide receivers who rise to the top, the AJ Browns, the Devonta Smiths of the NFL, right? They rise to the top. Travis Fulgham for 3 weeks. We were thinking the same thing, right? Travis Fulgham for 3 weeks. But to me, Terry McLaurin doesn't scream I get to sit out and get all this money. Honestly, I don't even think DK Metcalf screams that to me. There's a few elite guys in the NFL who I think can sit out and truly scream, we need to pay this guy ASAP. And I think that Josh Harris will relinquish a lot of control if he pays Terry McLaurin before the end of the preseason. So I think they're just going to run with what they run with. I don't think they have a whole lot of high expectations for this year. I think they're just aiming for Jaden Daniels to keep learning, and that's pretty much it. So
I would disagree with that. I think the Commanders feel that they can go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
they were one game away last year.
I think Commanders fans think they can go to the Super Bowl.
I think the Commanders front office feels as though
I think they're going to regress because you can't build a team with a bunch of unks.
That's fair.
No, you cannot. And speaking of building a team, I mean, behind Terry McLaurin, their depth chart is Deebo Samuel, as we talked about, Noah Brown, Luke McCaffrey, KJ Osborne, and then a bunch of younger players, Jalen Lane, Jacoby Jones, Ja'Cory Brooks. So, they need to re-sign Terry McLaurin. Mason, do you think they'll have it done by week 3 of the preseason?
So I do think they will. I think it's a question of whether or not they should. I think the Commanders are in that weird spot where I think they can still have a good season. They could probably win 10, 11 games, maybe even improve a little bit from last year. I think, what did they end up with last year? 10, 11? They have 12.
More than that, I thought.
Did they?
I think they were the 6th seed. Maybe it was 12 because
11-7, 12-6.
Last season they were 12-5.
Okay, yeah.
Packers had 11.
Better than I thought, honestly.
Yeah, it's better than I thought. Honestly, I don't think they're going to do better than that then. I don't think they're going to win 13 games. With probably a tougher schedule as well this year compared to last year.
NFC East has
Probably had a
gauntlet this year.
cupcake. But I just think they're in a weird spot now where, like you're saying, the front office is probably in the mindset where we were one, even though they got blown out, they were one game away from the Super Bowl and they need to use this window to get there. But it's just this awkward position of you have Jaden Daniels on a rookie contract, so you really need to go all in. But now they're signing all these old heads. So in 2 years, like what's the plan moving forward as you're moving into Jaden Daniels' prime? So I understand you want to pay this guy, and he's been your best wide receiver, and he's been through a lot with the team when they haven't been good. But I think in 2 years you're going to be looking back at this contract, and if Terry McLaurin's still making top 10 wide receiver money, I don't think you're going to be in a good position. So it's this weird kind of small window that they have where they kind of feel like they can execute on something, but in a few years, I think it's going to be a regrettable decision.
Well, I think primarily because of the older players on the roster, the contracts are going to be expiring and coming off the books the next couple of years. Plus, with the cap going up, I think they could probably afford to give McLaurin a deal and still not be paying Jaden Daniels for another 3 seasons at this point. Then he'll get the massive extension after that. So
Yeah.
I think
I just also feel like
He's got a
where's
ton of
the
cap space too.
like I guess guys are still young, and I just don't know how much like homegrown.
Well, that's the issue.
Commanders
It's
have
like
to
once
have the
Daniels is in
succession
the league
plan.
a few years, it's
Yeah.
winner. Like who's behind him now? They're gonna have to draft well to replace some of these older guys. But if you're not drafting well, you're gonna kind of end up like the Cincinnati Bengals at that point, where you have a star quarterback and then nothing around him, especially defensively, because it seems like teams are opting to draft defense and sign offense. So
I forgot Von Miller signed. Wow, that's crazy. They really are just unks.
it's a retirement
Option.
home. It is a retirement.
Josh
home,
Herron
so-
just knows ball, I guess.
Yeah, Josh Harris plays Madden 16 and goes,
I
I
want
want
to get
these
Eric
guys."
Gordon to play wide receiver for him.
Tight end,
Real.
red zone tight end, 3-and-D player. So, all right. So while the drama of the NFC East still is yet to be unraveled, we do have to talk about who we think is going to win the NFC East. Now, the Eagles, of course, won last year en route to the Super Bowl 59 victory. However, the NFC East has not seen a repeat champion in 20 years. There is a curse on the NFC East where there has not been the repeat division winner. The Eagles are favorited to win the division this year and are primed to break that curse. But if we've seen anything with the NFC East over the last 20 years, you know that the team that's expected to win that second year has not. So the Commanders are easily the number 2 in terms of favorite to win the division, and then the Cowboys and then the Giants. I know we kind of just joked about the Giants a little bit, but I don't think they have a real chance of winning the division. So it'd be either a massive bounce back by the Cowboys or the Commanders taking the next step. So, Pat, I'll start with you. I have a feeling I know who you're going to pick to win the division. But do you think the Eagles can break the curse and repeat as NFC East champion?
Absolutely. I think the Eagles will repeat as NFC champion and Super Bowl champion. But I have to say that. No, I just think like when you look at the NFC East, like the Eagles are such a solid team right now, like just full of stars. I would go so far as to say probably the youngest and I know the cheapest defense in the league and probably the best defense in the league. I just think the organizational culture is there. Yeah, they might have some times where like AJ Brown is reading a book on the sidelines and Philly's talk radio makes a big thing about it. But there's like no other team in the NFC East that I really see as a threat to the Eagles again. I think they're just going to steamroll through and maybe I'll be eating my words 8 weeks from now or whatever it is. But when we're in the middle of the season, but I just think it will be not even close. I would go so far as to say it will be Eagles on top, then Commanders, then Cowboys, then Giants. That's kind of my prediction for how it slates out. But I really hope that the Giants win more games than the Cowboys. That would make my life.
So you made a point about the Eagles being the best defense in the league.
Yes.
They were last year, but we don't really know if they're going to be this.
Broncos propaganda.
Yeah.
Well,
buddy.
not even that. No, I'm not even like
There we go.
bringing in other teams. I'm just talking about I'm just talking defensive player of the year. What do you mean PS2? But no, I just want to talk
You're on
about
board
some of
now,
this.
bro.
some of the subtractions from the Eagles defense, right? Darius Slay walks out. Now the Eagles are having an open camp battle for the second corner position. They have a question mark at linebacker too. They've lost some depth with Josh Sweat, Milton Williams on the defensive line. Safety is a little bit of a question mark as well. I know they drafted Makuba in the second round. I know that Cooper DeJean has been playing there in a base package, but with CJ Gardner-Johnson, who I believe had 6 or 7 interceptions last year, exiting the defense, you do have different. Very couple that were stolen from Quinyon, yeah. But you have different positions that are up for grabs. They're battling in camp, trying to figure out who's going to win that spot. They've got some young guys and some veterans they brought in to compete. I just don't think you're not bringing back the entire unit, and most teams typically don't bring back an entire unit. But in my opinion, I think those are enough question marks to wonder whether or not that defense is going to be as stout as they were last year. Chances of them repeating as the number one defense with a lot of these new pieces, I feel like might be a little hard to come by.
0.
I think they're still going to be close to top 10, and I think that's good enough that the offense is the way they were last year.
Yeah. I have a name for the safety spot, Sidney Brown.
That is a name that is listed, yeah.
That is the name that's in the depth chart.
I think they should put this guy that they just signed from the Raiders across from Quinyon. All I've seen is that this kid's like second coming to Christ. And then they should put Keely Ringo lined up in the slot and then move Coop to safety. And then boom. And then the defensive line, whatever. They didn't get like any pressure until the Super Bowl anyway. So like they were fine last year. Yeah. And then linebacker, either Trot Jr. or what's his name's gonna come back from injury?
Smile Mondon.
Nakobe.
Yeah, Nakobe.
You like my smile pull? That's a deep pull.
Smile Mondon. Isn't his name Smile?
I thought it was Smile. I wrote an article about it on Inside the Eagles.
Georgia linebacker. But yeah,
promo.
I think
what was that?
Howie learned his lesson from 2022 because after the 2022 season, there was a mass exodus of players, and they didn't really have any replacements, which is why they kind of flamed out halfway through the 2023 season. Now we have those replacements, right? So you got Moro Jomo on the D line, you got the Vanilla Gorilla, and you just have a lot of depth, right? And then obviously Jalen Carter. Anyone that plays next to Jalen Carter is going to look pretty sweet. You got Jordan Davis, and then edge is a little bit suspect because, as you said, they lost Josh Sweat. They also lost BG. Now Josh Sweat, he went on a little bit of a lull, and then he turned it up in the Super Bowl. And obviously, without them, they probably still would win. It was a total whooping, but he definitely contributed. But I think Nolan can take the jump. You got Boucher. You got Aziz Ojulari. So there are some pieces. Obviously, you guys see if they step up. Linebacker, you got the man, Jahad Campbell. Obviously, you got the bald eagle. So, like, those two, Nakobe Dean coming back, Ismail Mondon, Trot. I feel like that's a good, solid core, probably the best we've ever had. And then secondary, I'm a little concerned, I'm not going to lie, because you got Coop running around like a Swiss Army knife. That can go good or bad. And then so I think there's potential for them to bounce back, but obviously there's probably going to be regression. Now, is it regression to the point that WIP is calling for Sirianni's job by week 4? That remains to be seen.
Never a doubt.
And then now I just want the Giants, they get a lot of trash thrown on them, right? For good reason, obviously. They've been a total disaster over the last since 2011. But I would like to say their D-line on paper may be better than the Eagles. If you think about it, they got Dexter Lawrence, who's probably debatably better than Jalen Carter right now. And you got Brian Burns, who's efficient. You got Abdul Carter. He was probably the top prospect in the draft alongside Travis Hunter. So, that's a good solid punch. And then you got Kayvon Thibodeau, who's not a 10-sack season guy, but he's a good 5 to 6. So I think overall they're actually better on the D-line. It's everywhere else they're probably worse. They got Deontay Banks. But I think the Giants – the only time Dable had like a quarterback that didn't piss down his own leg, they made the playoffs. So I think the Danger Witch coming to New York, plus Malik Neighbors, plus Tyron Tracy, I think they're going to surprise a lot of people. But also the NFC East plays a gauntlet, every single one. Don't they play the AFC West and the NFC North?
Yep.
So it's going to be a total bloodbath. I don't know. The winner, it's going to be so all the teams might hit a lull and then they make the playoffs. The ones that do make the playoffs do better than you think. So yeah, I still think the Eagles are going to win, but I think there's still some threats. It's not a layup, but we'll see. I'm excited.
Dude, the first 4 weeks of the schedule for the Eagles kind of scares me low key. I guess 5 weeks actually.
The whole season. They have
Dallas, you should win, but then you're at Kansas City. I know you just beat the crap out of them, but that's at Arrowhead. And then the Rams revenge game. Then we go to Tampa. Nothing ever good
3 million
happens.
degrees again.
Nothing ever good. Yeah, in September. It's probably going to be like 150 on the field.
Yeah, they're going to
And
move hard.
then you got the Broncos, who are, the Broncos are, I won't say they're not good. They're
Free
good.
W.
Free W, bro.
So it's like,
It's the easiest one on there.
And
I'll
then,
see you all there.
the last 3 weeks of the year are Commanders, Bills, Commanders.
Which is insane that the schedule makers waited until the end of the
Roger
season
Bale's a fucking
to book those games.
Sickos.
You could say it, Mason. This is an anti-commissioner channel.
fucking asshole.
Yeah. I'm clipping that. But I'll be honest, I think the Commanders are going to win the East. I put some stock into the fact that there has not been a repeat champion in 2 decades.
Based off that. I will say though,
the Chargers are going to finish over the Broncos.
if there's ever a team that seems like they do it, and I know it's hard to judge in training camp, but like Jalen just seems like that guy who's like not going to let the team. And I don't know like how much he can really control. You know, he's a player, but it just seems like the squad is like still like really bought in. Like I don't expect as much of a drop off in terms of Super Bowl hangover because it just seems like they're so like. And I know it's just words, but like every time you hear one of the players talk, it's like, yep, we're moving on. I mean, Jalen didn't even put on his goddamn Super Bowl ring, which is
that was psycho.
Psycho. But like that's what I mean. It's like
yeah, but there's also things out of their control too, right? You have to stay healthy. I mean, we kind of talked about some of the question marks in terms of their defense. If guys get hurt, the depth is not there, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Offense, they should be okay. You're going to have regression from Saquon, and that's not even a shot at Saquon. It's just he's not going to be able to repeat.
Did you see the training camp stories? I don't know. He might be going for 2,500 this year.
There's just no way.
Saquon's going to regress, but we're getting a Jalen MVP season.
So,
yeah, well, if
6,000 yards,
you're going to need
50
Jalen
touchdowns.
He's taking off the straight jacket.
Zero INTs.
Zero INTs.
You willing to put a bet on that, Kyle?
AJ Brown, 2,000 yards.
He's going to be the happiest man alive.
AJ 2K.
But okay, so I have the Commanders, and I'm assuming you all are going with the Eagles. Like I feel
I'm going the Giants.
I don't know. It's up in the
air.
We'll let you know week 3.
Yeah, week 3 when the Giants are.
The only thing that gets me is the like I would say confidently Eagles, but that freaking NFC East curse, man. It's just.
I mean, it's legit. Like there's been some great teams. Like there's been a lot of Super Bowl teams in that 20-year span between the Eagles and the Giants, and even they didn't repeat. So
the Giants were the mid 2000s.
Cam Scatterbo. Gonna put his team on his back. What was it, your uncle Kyle that you said he called him something? Is that you?
No.
Probably
Luke.
Probably Luke.
But alrighty, guys. Well, those are our picks thus far for the NFC East. Plenty of time, of course, to be had as week 1 of preseason rolls in. Football is back on Thursday, so I'm sure you guys will be locked into the Eagles preseason game. I gotta wait till Saturday night. So
for a whole 5 minutes.
Yeah, third stringers are gonna be in 5 minutes into the game.
I doubt the first stringers will even play.
Dude, they're not even gonna play. They're not even gonna play Tanner McKee. No, they're not even gonna play him. He's honestly too valuable. They're gonna play the guy they got from
DTR. DTR.
Oh, Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Dude, I'll watch for
DTR. Honestly, he might be electric, and he might be pretty nice.
We taking an anytime DTR touchdown?
Dude, that's
the next day, WIP is going to be calling for DTR to have the starting job over Jalen.
Is there a QB battle going on in camp?
And with that note, I appreciate everybody for hopping on. We'll be back next week with another edition of Sunday Morning Slants. Until then, thanks for listening.